And we're live. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to Lunch with Linda. I am Linda Daniels, and you are now inside Northampton Wolves, here in Northampton, Massachusetts. There is so much to talk about today. I hope you guys had a glorious weekend. It was Parents' Weekend at Smith and at UMass, and downtown was the busiest I have seen it in a long time. I was teaching a class on Saturday afternoon, and I was in a position where I could see into the intersection, the Main Street intersection, and I was amazed at how crowded it was every single time I looked up. So if you were in town, you probably had a hard time finding a parking spot, and if you tried to go to dinner, you probably couldn't do that either because it was a madhouse. Hey Penny, hi Eileen, glad you guys are here. But we made it through. It was a wonderful, wonderful day, and yesterday I needed to recover. It was so busy. So Kate's not with us today. She also is taking a little bit of time off. She might show up here, and hopefully we'll get a chance to say hello to her. Hi, Amanda. So I made a list and lots of notes, so you're going to see me checking them to make sure that I cover everything that I want to cover today. Hey, Bonnie. Hi, Linda, Jean, Decker. All right. So we have several new yarns, several new projects, a couple of new books, and some things that I want to talk about. So first of all, I am going to move this and stand up so that you can see my shawl, because I know somebody's going to ask about it. So I bought this shawl. It's just one of those lightweight, this is wool shawls. I bought it in Scotland the first time that I took a group to the yarn festival there, and I've got my sheep pin on. But the reason I want to talk about it is not because of the shawl itself, but because I wanted to point out how you can take what we learned from Laura. Hey, Deborah, thank you. First time live. Thank you so much. And Lucille and Sally. You can take what we learned from Laura and apply it to a lot of other clothing. So this is not a knit shawl. This is, like I said, one of those printed ones. But when I put it on, instead of what we would normally do, like wrap it and throw it over, I put the first piece over and then wrapped the second piece around and down. So the front is on top of the underneath part. It's a little bit crazy with the backward stuff, but first I put this part over my shoulder, and then I pulled the second half of the shawl down and in the front, and I used one of my sheep pins to put it there, to hold it there. And I love the way it drapes. I love, love, love getting you real close up, how it looks in the back, and there's just enough coverage on both of my arms. The garment that I have on doesn't have full length sleeves. It's sort of a 3/4 sleeve, and it's a little bit chilly out there today and in here, so it's really warming me up. I can feel the little flush in my face, which is almost there anyway, all the time. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that you can do it with scarves. I mean, how many pashmina shawls do each of us have? That it's just another way of wearing it, and it's staying on. I've been moving around all morning, doing all of the work that I needed to do to get ready for this little live, and it has stayed right where it's supposed to stay. So take a lesson. Even though it's not a knit shawl, you can still wear it the same way. I'm not using the jewel pins because this is a fabric, a woven fabric, and I don't want to make that big hole in the piece. There's that sheep pin. Okay, that's number one. Number two, so exciting. We got in our copies of Grand Shetland Adventure Knits. I've talked about this before. This is by Gudrun Johnson and Mary Jane Mucklestone, and they are going to be at Ravelry up in New York this weekend signing copies of the book. This is on my list to make. This big oversized cardigan. That's just one of the designs in here. They both kind of shared back and forth the designing, but I also want to, I mean, gorgeous, gorgeous photography. Isn't that fun? It makes you want to be there, out there in those fields. This, it's probably not going to show up that well, but this has a lace yoke, and it's actually reminiscent of seaweed. And then there's even socks. So the book is live on our website. You can order it and we'll hold a copy for you. Hey, Paula. Hi, Rosemary. Hey, Bess. And like I said, after Rhinebeck, Gudrun is going to email me and we will have her here as a guest for a day signing copies of the book. So if you want to make sure you have a book for her to sign, get one soon, because I'm sure they're going to be gone. In fact, back there, you can see, let me go this way, Mariana. Have a little wave, Mariana. She is our newest employee. She's going to be here on Monday afternoons helping out with the behind the scenes work that always needs to be done. And she just came in and saw the book on the table and said that she and her mother bought one to share, and they love every single design in that. So she is an accomplished knitter, and we will have to keep track of which one she decides to make first. All right, Mariana?
All right.
All right. She's busy back there working on a project already. So there is that. Now you've seen flashes of this, one of the new models that we've got done as I moved around. So I'm just going to move this right here. This sweater is stunning. I love it. Eileen just finished knitting it. She's not 100% happy with it, but we're not going to ask her why or what. These are patch pockets that are sewn on, and we knit it with the Plymouth Select merino worsted weight. This is the pattern. It's one of the newest patterns from Jacqueline Cieslak, and it is called Chroma. You can see right there, Chroma. It's a worsted weight design, and it is meant to be oversized. So the smallest size finishes to 44 inches around the bust. So you will go into this sweater knowing that it's going to be big on you, but that's how it's supposed to fit. It's supposed to fall. It's a drop sleeve, so it's supposed to fall over your shoulder, off the shoulder, and really give a condensed look to the body. So the colors are, of course, let's go this way. The colors in the Plymouth Select are so brilliant, and so many combinations to choose from. Lots of people have made this sweater. You can look at the pattern on Ravelry, look under the projects page and see not only the test knitters, but colors that other people have been doing. Fairly simple construction. It's mostly stockinette stitch. There is a little bit of shaping trickery in there, but it's not too hard for most intermediate beginners to do, I would think. So that's in the store and hanging in the window. And in fact, on Friday, we had it hanging over a pair of black pants. We had a customer come in who wanted to buy the entire outfit. But I said, no, not yet. Can't do it. Besides that, she didn't even try on the pants. Okay. So that's one of the new models. The other new model that I want to show you is a design that I did using 2 skeins of the new spiral grain light worsted weight from Earth Yarn. Now, I did show you this yarn before when it first came in, but this is the first time that I've actually knit with it, and I was really happily surprised by what it looked like when it was done. So without further ado, here is the cowl that I am calling the Wavy Way, and this is what it looks like. Now this is two skeins, and people who have looked at it's two skeins of the same color, and people who have looked at it have said, well, where's the repeat? Well, that's the beauty of the spiral grain. There isn't really a repeat. The top part up here where I bound off begins to reflect the same color in the bottom part, but it's falling in a different place. So this yarn is incredibly soft and super colorful, and I made this cowl to be a little bit on the drapey side, especially with that lace. Sometimes it's hard for me to see because the comments are spread across the picture. Okay, so there is the colorway of the cowl. It is, again, a relatively simple lace pattern. When I wrote the pattern, I did chart it out and write it out so you can follow words or you can follow the chart. I got the pattern from one of the Japanese stitch pattern books, and I'm going to talk more about stitch dictionaries. They are my Bibles. I love them and use them constantly. And you don't have to be a designer necessarily to use them, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. But this is the spiral grain, two skeins of this, and it knits up more colorful than it looks in the skein. So you may choose this blue and think, okay, it's going to be mostly blue, but once you wind the skein up, you're going to begin to see a lot of color within these skeins that just doesn't show so dramatically when you're looking at the skein. There are, I think, almost 20 different colors. That's the blue. Some are very bright and autumny. This would be gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous in that wavy way cowl. Really autumny with that. I think the pattern is kind of reminiscent of waves. This one, we know this one is one Kate would love. Kinda, might be too blue for her. You can use this for a hat. It would be great in a hat. Yes, Amanda. It has 135 yards in it, and it knits really well on a size 6 or 7 needle. It's called a light worsted weight. I knit that cowl on a size 6, and it came to 6 stitches to an inch very comfortably. So I think calling it a worsted weight at 5 stitches to an inch might be a little bit of a stretch. It'll be very airy at that gauge. But at 6 stitches to an inch, I think it's really, really beautiful. And then there's, for all of you purple people, there's 2 gorgeous purples in here. This one, and again, this is not, no, Amanda, it would not be good for the Guernsey. And this one. And the reason it wouldn't be good for the Guernsey, Amanda, is because there's too much color. And Amanda is talking about the Hat a Week Guernsey pattern that is knits and purls. And in order for that, a knit and purl pattern to work, you really need a solid color to create the shadow, the difference between a knit and a purl. These don't do that. These are more about the color, but it does work in an overall lace pattern. Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you, Penny. These are gorgeous colors. So sometimes it's hard for me to tell what the reaction is. So hit that heart button if you've got one too. That helps. But this is a little lace pattern, and because of the direction of the decreases, it really gives you that fan-like look, and it shows the color. If it was just knits and purls, it would not show up as much. Yeah, they're beautiful. Okay, so this week, last week I told you how many days there were before Christmas. This week I'm going to tell you that there's 10 weeks before Christmas. And so each Monday I am going to try to give you an idea for we'll call it a week project that you could easily finish in a week, that you might want to think about gifting somebody, or you might want to put it on your wish list for Christmas, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about that you might need to have in your library, in your knitting bag, in your bag of tricks, whatever. So make those notes, people, so that when you come in, you both know what you're looking for, what I've talked about, and what you might want. And along those same lines, one of the new things that we just got in is actually an old friend revisited, but they have republished the calendar, the stitch calendars. One is crochet, which I will show you. 365 crochet stitches, a stitch a day, perpetual calendar. So it's a calendar simply because each page has a date on it. So this is the crochet. You can see it's filled. Both sides of the page have a pattern. They have pictures, and then they have the pattern written out. And then there's also a knit version. This is today's pattern, October 16th. A fairly simple, because there's not many rows, pattern shown there. So nice picture and the words to go with it. It is not charted. So if you love charts, it's not going to have charts for you, but it is spiral bound. Now, first of all, it opens up. You can see that bottom right there, tent. It opens up so that it sits nicely on the table, which means that you don't have to lean over to look at the directions. You can simply read it right from there. It's also very easy to copy those directions so that you can have a paper of it. And you can mark off where you are. If you're going to use it right from here and not make a paper copy of it, I would strongly recommend that you get a row counter so that you can keep track of what row you're on. Now, you might think, oh, what do I need for a stitch dictionary for? I'm not a designer. I am telling you that you don't have to be a designer to get a whole lot of joy out of one of these little books. There's patterns in here. This one is knit and purl. There are cable patterns. There are lace patterns. There's even some simple color work patterns. And listen to me, if you are sick and tired of doing a garter stitch scarf or a stockinette stitch cowl or the same old cable pattern, this is what you want in order to expand not only your knowledge, but your knitting skills. Because you can take the whole object, the whole idea is take the pattern that you're using for that garter stitch scarf and instead try one of these stitch patterns. It's fairly simple to do that. The one thing that they have is up here where they tell you the multiple. It's a multiple of 8, is that right? 8 stitches, yes. That means that you need either 8 or 16 or 24 or 32. You just need that multiple of 8 in order for this pattern to work as written. That's as much math as you need to do. You can use these patterns on sweaters. You have a basic stockinette stitch sweater that you want to put something a little bit different in, maybe along the bottom edge. I'm trying to get this so it doesn't glare. Along the bottom edge of the sweater, or maybe across the yoke. There is, oh, I don't know why YouTube is gone, Eileen. I don't know, nothing happened. Huh. Well, hopefully you're on Facebook and hopefully YouTube is recording, but we'll find out later. Okay, so you can use this over and over and over again. You know, things just happen, and who can keep up with tech stuff anymore anyway? So we've got these in stock. When you buy them, they come wrapped in plastic like this and like this, so you can find your way through. On my way to work today, I was thinking about this and I was like, man, that would be a knit along. That would be something else. What if we did a little knit along where we said for 1 hour every day, we're going to knit the pattern for that day, just for an hour. So maybe you get a couple of repeats done, and then the next day you go to the next pattern. And we just make these long strips that we eventually put together into a blanket. I'm gonna have to let that percolate in my head for a while to make sure that, or maybe to come up with an idea. Okay, let's see, I talked about that. And what I'm knitting. I showed you this yarn when it first came in, and I started to knit a model up for the store. I am knitting, oh, you don't want everything to fall. Okay, I am knitting the Home Cardigan by Kadri, right there. It is a top-down cardigan that is relatively simple and very interesting construction. You cast on for the back all the way across the shoulders and then start knitting, doing a little bit of short rows until you hit the underarm. Then you stop that and you go back to the cast on and pick up the stitches. Can you grab that, Mariana? Pick up the stitches and knit the fronts down. So I am past that point and into the body. And it looks like this. So here is the armhole opening right here. And I'm almost done with the body. And this is a bulky tweed. This is one of our new fall yarns. I'll show you close up what that looks like. It's a very subtle tweed. So the tweed isn't overwhelming the color. And the colors itself are really pretty subtle to begin with. Of course, there is a black, and that probably has the brightest tweed. It's not reading as quite as black as it is. And then there is a blue, and the name of this yarn is the Echo Tweed Chunky. It is not a superwash. It's an organic wool with 25% polyamide, and the polyamide is actually what makes the little specks. That's the stuff that they throw in that's multicolored so that it will become a tweed. And this is the charcoal gray. It's a shade darker than the one that I am knitting with. And this green has very, very small black and white specks in it. But isn't that brilliant? So this yarn is really very smooth to the touch, but not what I would call like machine washable soft. These two colors are not the same. This one is a lighter shade. This one is a little more oatmeal-y, but both of those have very, very subtle tweed effects in them. And then we have 3 more colors. The darkest green. You almost have to see these in person in order to really see the tweed effect of it. And then this real oatmeal color that has a lot of white specks in it. So, hey, Kate. Yeah, that green really is one of the prettiest colors out there. So hopefully next week I will be able to show you this sweater done. Like I said, I'm almost finished with the body. It is, again, an oversized sweater. I am making this small, but it's finishing to 43. So it's meant to be a very loose, comfortable fit. And I am almost at the part where I will be ready to do the ribbing at the bottom edge. And then the sleeves and the neckline will go on, and we'll have another new model in the store. It looks like this is going to end up taking about 7 or 8 skeins to do the sweater. The yardage on the pattern tells me that I should end up using 8, but it is really, really nice to knit with because it's not a superwash. It's not really slippery. It has a little more meat to it, so the stitches aren't falling off the needle, and the fabric that it's creating really does have a some meat to it. It has a stability to it that you don't often get in those machine washes. And best to answer your question, it's I think it's probably a pick up and knit, the sleeve down. Let me just check right here because I have the whole pattern right here. Yes, it is. Yes, the sleeves are picked up around the armhole and then knit down. And as great as that is, as far as not having to sew or sew a sleeve seam or sew a sleeve in, the drawback is that you have the entire sweater in your lap to constantly be moving around and moving around. But it means when you're done, and you don't have any other stuff to do except weave in the ends. Okay, one more quick check of this to make sure calendar, blah, blah, blah. All right, that is it. So, like I said, 10 weeks to go. Start making your wish lists now and keep track of the things that we are bringing into the shop new. I mean, we're still getting new yarns in, which is sending me into like a tizzy because we can't always find room for them, but we will eventually. And watch for classes. Shelly has given me a schedule. She's going to be doing a magic loop workshop, one day kind of thing. In a couple of hours, you will know how to do magic loop if you haven't tried it before and you want to. Magic loop is a great way not only to knit socks, but you can use it for the tops of hats so that you don't have to go to double pointed needles. You can use it for mittens, and it's great for sleeves when you have to do sleeves in the round. So look for that. That's scheduled this month. Lucille Miller is teaching a beginner hat. If you've never made a hat and you want to learn to knit in the round as you begin your first hat, that's coming up the rest of this month as well. I think she's meeting 2 Saturdays. So check the website and see all the things that we've got planned. The other thing that I want to mention is it's a little bit further out, but Shelly is going to be doing a Ravelry basics class. So if you need a refresh on how to use Ravelry, or you want to learn how to set up an account and use Ravelry, that's the workshop for you. So lots of fun things. Good, Bess. She likes picking those stitches up for the sleeve. So lots of the fun things still coming. We are in the beginnings of the height of knitting season as we move through November and December into January. So we will continue to bring you all kinds of fun stuff. So in the meantime, our downpour ended. It was short and sweet, and the sun's coming out. It's going to be a gorgeous week, off and on clouds, cool enough to certainly go knit something. Bye, everybody.